Okay, so the final example of factoring. So we've got this trinomial, 4x squared minus 9. But if you notice, I'm missing a term because the trinomial has to have 3 terms. Well, I have my x squared term and I have my constant. So I'm missing my x term, my x to the power of 1. So if I don't see it, that means I don't have any. So this really is, guys, 4x squared plus 0x minus 9. I have to have all 3 terms showing because remember, I need 3 coefficients, an a, a b, and a c. So if you don't see one of the terms listed, then you want to use a 0 for that coefficient. But before I can fill in my a, b, and c coefficients and start filling in my table, I've got to check for my GCF first because my a is not 1. You just need to know from here on out, anytime you have a trinomial and it tells you find the factors or factor the trinomial or factor the polynomial, you have to check for your GCF first. So I'm going to math over 9 and 4 and 0. Yes, you can check for a factor of 0. And it's just 4, which means they don't really have a common factor at all if you get one of those answers back. So now I'm going to math over 9, and now I'm going to GCF between 4 and 9. And it's a 1. So my GCF is a 1. So that tells me if I factor out a 1, 4 divided by 1 is still going to be 4x squared. That coefficient's not going to change. 0 divided by 1 is still going to remain a 0. It's not going to change. Negative 9 divided by 1 is still going to remain a negative 9. And so my trinomial did not change if my GCF is 1. And I'm going to go ahead and put that 1 down here in the final answer just so that I know I did check for a GCF. It was 1. So now I'm going to fill in my coefficients. Well, my a is 4, my b is a 0, and my c is a negative 9. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight these up so that I can kind of keep my color coding the same as I have been in previous examples. Now, if you need a color code to help you figure this out, please use color. If you need to draw the X puzzle, you need to write the factor list out, you need to write out your A, B, C coefficients, please do so. Everyone should be using the box method to help them factor, unless you're just getting really, really good at it. Okay, so I'm going to fill in here. This is going to be 4x squared. This is going to be minus 9, negative 9. And I'm not sure how my like term boxes are going to split up. I just know when I combine them, I'm going to have to get back to 0. So we're going to go to our X puzzle now. We're going to start filling in. So this is going to be the product of A and C, which is negative 36. That's what I get when I multiply 4 times negative 9. And my B coefficient has to add to 0. So I'm now going to take this to my calculator because I have to find factors of 36. Well, I know 1 and 36 is an option. I just need to double check that I don't leave any out. So again, type in the number you want to find the factors for, always divide by x. And now we're going to go to our graph. 2 and 18, I think I would have left that one out if I was doing this. 3 and 12, and 4 and 9. And we can skip over 5, 6 and 6. And we can leave those out, 7 and 8. And then when I see 9 and 4, I've already got 4 and 9 listed, so I know I'm done. And I need factors that will add to 0, which means they have to have the same number, have to be the same. Oh, there's 2 factors that are the same, 6 and 6. All right, if your product's negative, that's telling you one of these 6's has to be negative and the other's positive. That's the only way you're going to get to 0 when you combine them. So one is going to have a negative 6x and one is going to have a positive 6x. And if I haven't mentioned this before, it doesn't matter which term goes in which box. Okay, once you fill them in, then if you need help, you can GCF. I always GCF this box, so I'm GCFing this top row to help me figure out how I'm going to bust apart this 4. Because again, I could split it up 4 times 1. It could be 2 times 2. I don't know. I want to make sure I find the correct factors of 4 because they're going to have to multiply to make this box and this box. And if I pick the wrong factors, I'm going to have trouble filling in these GCFs for the rows and columns. So I'm going to GCF 4 and 6, 4, 6, and that GCF is a 2, which tells me that that 4 is broken up into products 2 and 2, the factors 2 and 2. All right, well, that's got to be 2x and 2x. That's how I got to split it up because I can remove an x from both of these terms. I can also remove an x from both of these terms if we're thinking back to that GCF lesson we had. Now I'm going to use my multiplication skills. 2x times what is going to give me negative 6x. That would be a negative 3. And this has got to be a positive 3 because positive 3 times 2x is going to give me a positive 6x. And when I multiply these together, I do get back the product of negative 9. So I know my factors are 2x minus 3 and 2x plus 3. And if I look at my factors, I'm almost thinking perfect square trinomial, but I notice one has addition, one has subtraction. So 4x squared plus 0x minus 9 or 4x squared minus 9 is not a perfect square trinomial. So these are my two factors.